Google Maps ranking for electricians is one of the biggest factors that determines whether new customers find you or your competitors. And this video is a complete practical guide to getting that right in 2026. Before we get into details, I want to be clear about who this is for so you know exactly what you're about to invest your time into, because this is a long one. If you're an electrician or electrical contractor who feels like your Google listing should be producing more calls, or you're relying too heavily on referrals and word of mouth to keep the schedule full, this video is for you. It's for electricians who want to understand how Google Maps actually works, what signals matter, and how to build a more reliable lead source instead of hoping the phone rings. This does include SEO, but explained in plain English, specifically for Google Maps, without jargon or theory that doesn't apply to real electrical businesses. This guide works whether you're a solo electrician, a small team, or a larger local electrical contractor, because Google Maps is about local competition, not company size. If you've tried things like adding photos, asking for reviews, or posting occasionally, and you didn't see consistent improvement, this video will help you understand why. I'll also reference linked resources in the description, a Google Business Profile audit checklist, and a Google Business Profile to website alignment audit, so you can follow along and actually apply what you're learning. Now, who this video is not for. If you're looking for tricks, loopholes, fake reviews, keyword stuffing, black hat SEO, or anything that promises instant rankings, this isn't that. Google Maps rewards consistency, accuracy, and trust over time. And that's what this guide focuses on. And if your business is already booked out months in advance and Google Maps isn't a growth priority for you right now, this might not be the best use of your time. For everyone else, electricians who want to reduce dependence on referrals, build a stronger inbound system, and compete more effectively in their local market, this video will give you clarity and structure to do exactly that. Let's start by talking about why electricians lose Google Maps rankings in the first place. When electricians lose Google Maps rankings for their business, it might not be because they did something wrong. It could be because someone else did something better. That's the part that a lot of people miss. Google Maps ranking for electricians is relative, not absolute. And that one idea explains almost every rise, drop, and plateau you'll see. Most electricians think in terms of checklists. Profile complete, check. Photos uploaded, check. Reviews are coming in, check. And while those things matter, Google isn't grading you against a fixed standard. It's comparing you to other electricians showing up for the same searches in your service area. If your competitors improve their profiles, add better photos, earn more relevant reviews, or strengthen their websites, your ranking can drop even if you didn't change a thing. And that's why rankings often feel random or unfair. But they're not. They're competitive. And another big reason electricians lose visibility is inconsistency. Profiles get set up once, then ignored. Reviews slow down, you don't ask for more. Photos stop getting added. Posts disappear after 6 months. Meanwhile, another electrician across town is steadily feeding Google fresh signals that say this business is active, is trusted, and relevant. There's also misalignment. Your Google Business Profile, or your GBP, says one thing, your website says another. That's misalignment. And your services or categories don't match between the two. To Google, that creates uncertainty. And when Google isn't confident, it doesn't reward you with top visibility. Finally, many electrical contractors losing rankings because they're unknowingly stuck at good enough. Their profile looks fine on the surface, but fine doesn't win in competitive markets anymore, especially in 2026. The electricians who consistently rank are the ones who understand what Google is actually measuring and make sure they're stronger in those areas than the businesses around them. Now let's break down how Google Maps actually decides who ranks in plain English, no theory, so you can see exactly where you're strong, where you're weak, and what to fix first. To understand Google Maps ranking for electricians, you need to understand how Google actually makes ranking decisions, because it's not random and it's not a checklist. Google Maps is a matching and comparison system. Its job is to show the best electrician for a specific search in a specific location at that moment. Every time someone searches electrician near me, Google looks at the electricians it could show and asks 3 questions. First, who is physically close enough to realistically serve this customer? Second, which of these electricians clearly offers what the person is searching for? And third, which of these businesses looks the most legitimate, trusted, and active? Those 3 questions translate directly into the 3 core ranking factors: proximity, relevance, and trust. Proximity is the simplest factor, but it's not completely fixed. Google determines proximity based on how your Google Business Profile is configured and verified. If you show a physical address, Google uses that address as your proximity anchor. If you hide your address and operate as a service area business, Google relies on the service areas you define in the back end of your profile. That means proximity can be optimized by choosing the right setup for your business. Electricians who travel to customers often perform better by optimizing and clearly defining the cities and areas they actually serve instead of relying on a single physical point on the map. And at a more advanced level, some established electrical contractors expand proximity coverage by opening legitimate, staffed locations in other areas they want to compete in, each with its own verified Google Business Profile. That's not a trick. That's a real business decision that comes with real costs and responsibilities. Relevance is where most electricians often win or lose Google Maps rankings. Relevance answers the question, does this business clearly match the search? Google determines this by looking at your categories, listed services, business description, reviews, photos, and website, all reinforcing the same services and terminology. If someone searches for panel upgrades electrician, or EV charger installation, the electrician who clearly documents those services across their profile and website is more relevant, even if they're slightly farther away. Trust, sometimes called prominence, is Google deciding which electrician feels safest to recommend. Reviews matter, but trust also comes from consistency and activity. Review responses, fresh photos, accurate business information, a solid website, verified citations, and local backlinks. In the next section, you can follow along using the Google Business Profile Audit linked in the description and see why good enough no longer wins in 2026. Before Google judges your GBP, let's talk about when customers make a snap judgment. When someone lands on your Google Business Profile, it should immediately feel legitimate, professional, and confidence building. It's not about looking fancy, it's about looking trustworthy. If your profile feels incomplete, outdated, or sloppy, people hesitate. And when people hesitate, they don't click, they don't call, and Google notices that behavior. Click-through rate and engagement are quiet signals that reinforce whether your listing deserves visibility. A strong visual check means clean branding, real photos, consistent information, and nothing feels off or unfinished. The goal is simple. When someone compares you side by side with another electrician, your profile should feel like the safer, more established choice without them having to think about it. This isn't just about rankings, it's about converting visibility into real calls. One of the fastest ways to hurt your Google Maps ranking without realizing it is getting your business name wrong. Google is very clear about this, and it's one of the most commonly abused parts of the Google Business Profile. Your business name must reflect your real-world business name exactly as it appears on your legal documents, signage, invoices, and branding. No extra keywords, no service lists, no city names unless they're part of the actual business name. A clean example is something like Bright Light Electric. A risky example is something like Bright Light Electric licensed electrician 24/7 emergency services. That second version might rank temporarily, but it puts your profile at risk of being filtered, suspended, or quietly downgraded over time. And when Google corrects it, your rankings might not bounce back the way you like. Many electricians see competitors stuffing keywords into their business name and assume that's the reason they're ranking. What they don't see is how often those listings disappear, get suppressed, or trigger a manual review later. Google's system may tolerate it for a while, but it's not a long-term strategy. And in competitive markets, it's one of the easiest ways to get knocked out entirely or get reported by your competition. There's also a subtler issue, inconsistency. If your Google Business Profile name doesn't match your website, citations, licenses, or branding, Google starts to see mixed signals. That weakens trust and can limit how confidently Google shows your listing. Consistency across your website, directories, and branding reinforces legitimacy, which directly supports rankings. The safest and strongest approach is simple. Use your real business name spelled the same way everywhere, and let categories, services, reviews, and content do the ranking work for you. In the next section, we'll talk about the primary versus secondary categories for electricians and how choosing the wrong one can quietly cap your visibility, even if everything else looks right. Categories are one of the strongest relevant signals in Google Maps ranking for electricians, and they're often misunderstood. Categories do not describe what services you offer, they describe what your business is. Google uses them to classify your business before it evaluates anything else on your profile. For most electrical contracting businesses, the correct primary category is simply electrician. This sets a clear baseline and tells Google exactly what type of business you are. In the majority of cases, this one category is enough to compete effectively in Google Maps when everything else is aligned correctly. Secondary categories are optional but not required. They exist to further describe what your business is, not to list additional services. That's what the services section is for. Most electricians do not need secondary categories at all, and adding them just in case usually doesn't help. In some situations, a secondary category may make sense. For example, if your business is legitimately structured and branded in a way that clearly fits another business type. But if a category doesn't accurately describe what your business is at its core, it shouldn't be there. Adding irrelevant or borderline categories doesn't expand reach. It can dilute relevance and create confusion. The safest and most effective approach is simple. Choose the single best category that clearly defines your business, and only add a secondary category if it truly applies to what your business is, not what you happen to do on certain jobs. In the next section, we'll talk about your service area settings and how to configure them in a way that helps rather than hurts your proximity and eligibility in Google Maps. Service area settings play a bigger role in Google Maps ranking than most people realize, and they're easy to misconfigure. These settings don't let you rank everywhere you list, but they do influence where you're eligible to show up and how clearly Google understands your coverage. If you operate as As a service area electrician and travel to customers, the safest and most effective setup is to hide your physical address and define your service areas accurately. That means listing the cities or areas you actually serve on a regular basis, not every town within a massive radius. Bigger service areas don't mean more rankings, and in many cases, it can reduce clarity. This is also an area where you need to be careful. Making aggressive or frequent changes, like altering your address visibility, shifting service areas repeatedly, attempting to manipulate proximity so you can rank higher, those can all trigger re-verification or suppress your listing. Sometimes those approaches appear to work temporarily, but sometimes they don't. And when they fail, recovery can be slow and unpredictable. Expanding your proximity the right way is about legitimacy and reinforcement. That can mean opening a real staffed location with a new Google business profile and a new verified address. It can also mean reinforcing the areas that you already serve through clear location-specific content on your website, which supports your Google business profile without pretending to be physically located where you're actually not. The goal with service area settings is stability and accuracy. Set them to match how your business actually operates. Avoid constant tinkering and let your website and other signals reinforce those locations over time. Your business description is the From the Business section on your Google business profile. And Google is very clear about what this is for. It's not an ad. It's a short, factual overview that helps customers and Google understand who you are and what you do. Start with what you offer. Say you're an electrician and describe the type of work you actually do. Service calls, repairs, upgrades, installations, residential, commercial, industrial, or all three. This should sound like how you'd explain your business to a new customer, not marketing copy. Next, explain what makes you different in a real grounded way. That could be being locally owned, family run, veteran owned, service work, known for showing up on time, communicating clearly. This isn't about hype, it's about context and trust. Then include how long you've been in business. It's meaningful. Years in operation help establish credibility, especially for homeowners deciding who to call. If you're newer, that's fine too. Sometimes people want to try out the new guy. You can also add anything helpful a customer might want to know before calling you. Service areas you actually cover, the type of customer you typically work with, how people usually get started with you, or anything else like that. And naturally, no promos, no prices, no sales language. Just a simple, honest overview. Google limits this section to 750 characters, so keep it tight and focused. Google has recently added its own AI tool that can write your business description for you. And for some electricians, that's good enough. But if you want something a little more focused and something you can easily tweak to match how you actually run your business, you can use the AI prompt on screen or grab it from the link in the description. Next is business hours, holiday hours, and availability signals. This section matters because Google doesn't just rank electricians based on what you say you do. It pays close attention to whether you appear available when someone actually needs help. Business hours, holiday hours, and availability signals are Google's way of sanity checking that you're a real reachable business, not just a well-filled out profile. If your business hours say are closed and your competitors are open, the rankings will change during the different times of day and show the person up top who's actually open. Let's start with regular business hours. Your hours should reflect when someone can realistically answer the phone or respond quickly, not when you're technically on call, not when you might call someone back later, when a real human or system is actually available. If you offer 24-hour service, you have two clean options. Option 1, set your hours to your true core hours, like 7 to 5, 8 to 5, and communicate emergency services elsewhere on your profile. Option 2, keep 24 hours a day open, but back it up with real availability, meaning a live answering service or an AI phone agent that can consistently answer calls and route emergencies after hours. Where you might get into trouble is claiming 24 hours a day emergency services, but sending late night callers straight to voicemail. When users hit voicemail and bounce back to Google Maps to choose another electrician, Google sees that behavior. Over time, that weakens your visibility compared to your competitors who are actually reachable and answering the phone. Now let's talk about holiday hours. Google regularly emails business owners asking whether they'll be open or closed for upcoming holidays. If you don't confirm, Google may show hours that may differ from your actual business hours, which creates uncertainty for both Google and searchers. You don't have to wait for those emails. You can proactively set your holiday hours inside your Google business profile, either weeks or months in advance. If you're closed, mark closed. If you're open with limited hours, set those clearly. Clear confirmed holiday hours signal that your listing is actively managed and reliable. Beyond hours themselves, Google looks at availability signals tied to real-world behavior. Phone responsiveness is the big one. Website availability is another. If someone clicks through to your site and it's slow, broken, or inconsistent with your profile, that weakens trust. Google is constantly cross-checking whether users can actually reach you. Now let's talk phone numbers. You should have one true primary business number, the number that represents your company. That number should appear consistently on your GBP and across all major directories. At the same time, you should absolutely use call tracking on your website. Tracking ROI matters a lot. If you can't see which pages and campaigns generate calls, then you can't improve them. This works great when it's implemented correctly. Your website can use a tracking number while your primary business number remains consistent everywhere else. When your site has proper local business schema, Google can still clearly identify your real business phone number, even if a tracking number is displayed to users. Schema acts like a translator for Google. It tells Google that this is the official business name. This is the real phone number. This is the service area, and this is the company you see on Google Business Profile. That's how you track performance without breaking trust. Next is your website link inside your Google Business Profile. This should always point to your main website, and it should include a UTM parameter. This is the extra wordage with a question mark at the end of your URL that helps tell your Google Analytics where clicks are coming from. The UTM doesn't actually boost rankings directly, but it lets you confirm traffic and behavior coming from Google Maps. If you're serious about getting consistent inbound calls, you need visibility into what's actually working. The takeaway here is simple. Consistency builds trust, and trust supports rankings. Keep your business identity identical across platforms, track what matters on your website, and use Schema to keep Google fully informed. When everything lines up, Google has few reasons to hesitate and more reasons to keep showing you. The services section in your Google Business Profile is one of the clearest relevant signals Google has. It answers a very simple question. Does this electrician actually provide the exact service the customer is searching for? When this section is correctly built, it does a lot of heavy lifting for rankings and leads. Here's the right way to think about it. You should use every relevant predefined service in Google that you actually offer. If Google already has a service option for it and you do that work, you should add it. Don't pick and choose based on what feels important. If a homeowner might search for it, it belongs here. Any service that you offer and Google doesn't have as a predefined service should be added as a custom service. Each service should be listed individually, not bundled together, and written in clear, customer-friendly language that explains exactly what's included. This isn't about impressing Google with jargon. It's about matching real searches that people actually search for. That means small services count too. Replacing outlets, installing ceiling fans, fixing flickering lights, swapping breakers. These may feel minor to you, but they're very real search terms and for homeowners. If you offer the service and someone might type it into Google, it should be listed. Now let's clear up a big myth. You may have heard that too much content or too many services hurt Google rankings. That's not true when the content is actually useful. Google does not dislike detail. It dislikes duplication and fluff. If a service page or a GBP service clearly answers the question, does this electrician provide this exact service in this location? And then it explains it properly, that content is doing its job perfectly. That's not thin content, that's intent matching. Where you might get in trouble is copying the exact same content over and just swapping out the service name. If every service page is identical except for one word, that's duplication, and that can hurt your rankings. But unique, helpful explanations for each service is not only safe, it's an advantage. This is where your Google Business Profile and website should reinforce each other. Every service listed on your GBP should exist on your website as a dedicated service page. When Google sees the same services supported by real content, relevance and trust go up. So what should you skip? Don't combine unrelated services into one vague entry. Don't use internal processes like free estimates or same-day service as services because those are not services. And don't list things you don't actually want calls for. The goal isn't to look smaller and the goal isn't to look bigger. It's to look complete. The complete business that you provide. A fully built out services section that tells Google and customers exactly what your business does. When every real service is listed, clearly explained, and backed up by your website, you make it easy for Google to match you with the right searches and the right searches with the right customers. And that's how you win consistently. So let me save you some time on the products feature section because this one gets overcomplicated. For most electricians, the product section in Google Business Profile should just be left alone. Here's the black and white rule. If you don't sell physical products directly to customers, don't use the products feature. If you do, you can go ahead and experiment with it. It's okay if products don't apply to your business. And here's what not to do because this is where people mess up. Do not turn your services into products. That doesn't help rankings and it can actually work against you. Panel upgrades listed as products is a no. Generator installs, no. Keyword stuffed product titles, fake or starting at prices, just fill in the section. It's not good. Remember, Google already gave you a services section for all that. Mixing services and products just muddles the signal. The bottom line, if you sell equipment, use products properly. If you sell labor, skip it entirely and move on. Your time is better spent on things that actually move the needle, like the services section, reviews, photos, and being the electrician people can actually reach. Next is the attributes section. Attributes are one of those Google Business Profile features that look more important than they usually are. Most of them don't move the ranking at all, but a few of them do influence visibility, relevance, and click-through rate in very real ways. What attributes do is help Google decide when to show you and help customers decide on who to call once you appear. The attributes that actually matter for electricians fall into three buckets. The first bucket is service and availability attributes. Things like on-site services or online estimates help Google understand how your business operates. These don't push you up the map by themselves, but they do reinforce that your profile matches the real-world behavior. If you offer online estimates or virtual consultations and that's true, select it, and you might get a button on your profile too. If not, leave it unchecked. Accuracy matters more than completeness. The second bucket is customer decision attributes, and this is where visibility indirectly improves. Attributes like veteran-owned, women-owned, or locally owned can trigger filters and influence who clicks your listing. These don't apply to everyone, and that's fine. If they genuinely apply to your business, use them. If not, don't force it. The third bucket is trust and friction reduction attributes. Payment types, accessibility features, and service options all fall here. These don't change where you rank, but they absolutely change how often people choose you. More clicks, more calls, better engagement, they all feed back into stronger performance over time. Now let's be clear about what does not matter. Checking every attribute does not give you an advantage. Adding attributes just to look active doesn't help. And toggling attributes on and off constantly doesn't send a positive signal. Google expects these to be stable reflections of your business, not optimization levers. Here's the practical takeaway. Use attributes to remove doubt, not to chase rankings. If an attribute actually helps a customer understand how you operate and makes it easier for them to choose you, it's worth setting up. If it doesn't apply or doesn't add clarity, skip it. Attributes won't win Google Maps by themselves, but when they're accurate and aligned with everything else on your profile, they support the kind of engagement Google wants to see. And in competitive markets, that support can make the difference between showing up and getting skipped. When it comes to photos on your Google business profile, the most important ones are real people photos. Real faces, real electricians, real work, your work van. If you only upload one type of photo, make it that, real ones. Google and homeowners both want to know the same thing. Who's actually going to show up? A photo of you or your team by the work van instantly builds more trust than any perfectly staged image ever will. Even one or two clear, honest people photos can outperform a gallery full of polished Canva graphics. Right behind that are real job site photos, panels you've worked on, EV chargers you've installed, lighting jobs, before and after shots. These photos prove you do the work and that you're active in the field. Google can tell they're real, and customers respond to that authenticity. Next are vehicle and branding photos. Your truck, your van, your logo, your tools, these help reinforce legitimacy and make your business feel established and recognizable. Homeowners remember visuals, and these photos connect the dots between your listing and your real world presence. People see you driving through town in your work van and remember your logo. Now let's talk about the fallback option. Real photos are always best, but if your guys don't want to take photos or it's difficult, you're too busy, the best fallback option right now is high-quality AI-generated images, but with strict rules. AI images must look believable. Should be realistic people, correct tools, real job site environments. If you provide services by the coast, then show a coastline. No extra fingers, no impossible wiring, no fantasy electrical work from outer space. The images should reflect the kind of jobs you actually do, not generic or exaggerated scenes. AI photos are not a replacement for real photos, but they're better than the obvious stock images when done carefully. Stock photos of a random electrician don't build trust because customers can tell they're not you. The goal isn't to impress anyone, it's to reduce doubt. Real people photos do that better than anything else. Add real jobs when you can. Use AI only as a temporary bridge and keep your photo section grounded in reality. How often you add photos matters more than how many you upload at once. Sure, at the start you have to upload a lot, but Google isn't impressed by big photo dumps. It pays attention to ongoing activity. Fresh photos tell Google your business is active, working, and still relevant right now. Here's the simple rule. Add photos consistently, not perfectly. For most electricians, that means a few photos every month. You don't need daily uploads. You don't need professional shoots. One or two real photos from actual jobs added regularly is enough to send the right signal. When you add photos over time, Google sees signs of life and customers see recent work. Both of those things matter. Profiles with recent photos tend to get more clicks, more calls, and more confidence from homeowners comparing options. Now what happens if you don't add photos at all? Nothing breaks, but you slowly fall behind. Your profile starts to look inactive compared to competitors who are showing recent jobs and real people. In a competitive map pack, that difference can decide who gets the call. The practical takeaway is this. Treat photos like real proof of work, not a one-time task. Snap a quick photo on a job site once in a while. Upload it when you have a minute. Over time, those small actions compound into stronger trust, better engagement, and fewer reasons for Google or customers to pass you over. One of the most common questions electricians ask is how many reviews do you actually need and what rating should you be aiming for? Here's the honest answer. There is no magic number. Google doesn't rank you because you hit 50 or 100 or 1,000 reviews. What matters is how you compare to the electricians around you and whether your review profile looks natural, active, and consistently growing. Start with your competitors in the map pack. Look at the top 3 to 5 electricians in the map results. That's your real benchmark. If they have 120 reviews and you have 12, that gap matters. If they have 40 and you have 35, you're already competitive. Google is comparing you side by side, not grading you on an absolute scale. Now let's talk about rating. You should always be aiming for 5 stars, every job, every time. That's the goal. If you consistently deliver good service and you consistently ask for reviews, your rating will naturally settle somewhere in the high 4s. And that's completely normal. A profile sitting in the 4.6 to 4.9 range with steady review activity looks healthy, trustworthy, and real to both Google and customers. One mistake a lot of electrical contractors make is trying to get a bunch of reviews all at once and then doing nothing for months. That's called a review spike, and it's not what Google wants to see. Google cares far more about review velocity than volume. Velocity just means consistency. Are you getting reviews regularly over time? Or did you get 20 in 1 week and then go silent for 6 months? A steady stream of reviews tells Google your business is active, trusted, and still doing real work in the real world. Think about it from Google's perspective. An electrician getting 1 or 2 reviews every week looks far more reliable than one who suddenly dumps a pile of reviews and then disappears. Spikes can happen naturally, but when that's your only pattern, it doesn't help you long term, and it can raise quality flags. This is why asking for reviews on every single job matters so much. You're not trying to game the system. You're just letting your normal workflow produce normal ongoing feedback. Over time, that creates a clean review timeline that supports rankings and conversions. If you want your GBP to stay visible month after month, the goal isn't a big review push once a year. The goal is a habit. 1 review here, 1 review there, week after week. That steady pace is what keeps you competitive and maps results. A lot of electrical contractors and even some SEO agencies might not realize this, but what customers write inside your reviews matters just as much as the star rating. Reviews help Google understand what services you provide and where you provide them. When someone searches Google for a specific service like kitchen lighting upgrade, Google often bolds those exact words inside the reviews on the Maps page. So if a customer wrote, "Johnny's Electric did a sweet kitchen lighting upgrade at our home in Naples," that phrase can literally show up bolded when someone searches for it. That makes your listing stand out instantly. Now, this doesn't mean you tell customers to stuff keywords into reviews, because Google might see it as over-optimized and disregard it, especially if it's happening in a lump sum review dump or every single review. What does work is guiding the review naturally. When you ask for a review, you can simply say, "If you can, mention what we helped you with and the area we were in." That's it. Most people will naturally say something like the service they hired you for and the city they were in. Over time, those natural mentions help Google connect your business to specific services and specific locations. That reinforces your relevance in Maps rankings. And it helps real customers scanning the results quickly see in bold text that you do the exact job they're searching for in the exact place. 1 review won't move the needle by itself necessarily, but when you consistently get reviews that mention real services and real locations, Google builds a very clear picture of what you specialize in and where you belong in the local map results. How you respond to reviews matters almost as much as the reviews themselves. Google reads those responses, and so do potential customers. When you respond to reviews consistently, you're sending 2 signals at once. To Google, it shows the business is active and engaged. To customers, it shows you care after the job is done, not just when you're trying to get hired and paid. That combination builds trust fast. For positive reviews, keep it simple and real. Thank them, mention the service if it makes sense, and stay human. You don't need a paragraph, and you don't need to stuff keywords. A short, genuine response is more than enough to reinforce credibility. Negative reviews are where most people panic, but this is actually an opportunity. Never argue, never get defensive. A calm, professional response that acknowledges the issue and offers to make it right tells future customers far more than a 5-star review ever could. People aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for how you handle problems. The key is consistency. Respond to every review, good or bad. When Google sees an active feedback loop and customers see professionalism in public, it strengthens trust signals across the board and supports your visibility in the Maps results. A lot of business owners get stuck on what to say, especially for negative reviews. This is where AI can actually help if you use it the right way. Using AI doesn't have to make you sound robotic. You can use it so you don't freeze, overthink, or accidentally say the wrong thing in public. A good AI prompt gives you a clean, professional response that still sounds human and keeps you out of trouble. You can use the prompt on screen right now or grab it from the link in the description. All you do is paste in the customer's name, the review text, and your contact info. The AI handles the tone, figures out whether the review is positive or negative, and writes a response that's calm, professional, and appropriate. For positive reviews, it helps to say thank you without sounding generic or salesy. For negative reviews, it keeps emotions out of it, avoids public arguments, and clearly invites the customer to take the conversation offline. That's exactly what Google and future customers want to see. The real win here is consistency. When every review gets a timely, well-written response, your profile looks active, trustworthy, and professionally managed, even if you're a one-truck operation running jobs all day. Next are Google Business Profile posts. These show customers that your business is active and legitimate when they find you on search or maps. These posts show up right on your profile and help people decide whether to call you or keep scrolling. You can use posts to share updates, announcements, offers, or event details. For electricians, the most useful posts are simple updates, recent jobs, service reminders, schedule availability, or general business updates. These improve the customer experience by confirming you're open, working, and responsive. Posts can include text, photos, or videos, and they appear in the updates or overview tabs on mobile. And they appear in the From the Owner section on desktop. On mobile, some posts, especially offers or events, may be featured more prominently, sometimes appearing before reviews. Google gives you 3 main post types in the user interface on the dashboard. Updates are for general business info and job-related updates. Offers are for real promotions that require dates and details. Use these only if you actually run structured offers, which you should. Events are for specific time-based things like open houses, hiring events, or community involvement. When you do include a link, especially for offers or campaigns, use UTM parameters. This is critical if you want to know whether GBP posts are actually driving results. For example, if you're running a summer electrical safety check or EV charger install promotion, tag the link so you can see traffic and conversions coming specifically from Google Business Profile posts. Without UTMs, everything just shows up as generic website traffic. With them, you can tell which posts work, which offers got clicked, and whether your time is paying off. When it comes to how often to post, the sweet spot for most electricians is 1 to 3 times per week. 1 post is the minimum to stay active. 2 or 3 is ideal if you have real updates to share. Anything beyond that doesn't create extra reach. Your GBP is not Facebook. Posting multiple times a day does not boost visibility here. Google Business Profile posts expect to show real business activity, jobs completed, current offers, service updates, etc. If there's nothing meaningful to say, don't post just to hit a number. On the last practical note, posts older than 6 months get archived, unless they have a date range. That's normal. You're not trying to build a library here, you're just showing steady activity. Your Google Business Profile does not exist in isolation. Google uses your website to validate the information on your profile and decide how much trust to place in it. Think of your website as the proof behind the listing. When Google checks your website to validate your GBP, the homepage carries the most weight. This is where Google expects to see clear confirmation of what you do and where you do it. Start with alignment to your primary category and primary location. Your meta title should include both something like Most Trusted Electrician in City or Best Electrical Contractor Serving City. Your meta description should reinforce the same idea in plain language, not marketing fluff. Next, your main headline, which is the H1, should clearly state your primary service. If you're an electrician, say electrician. Don't get creative here. Google uses the headline to confirm relevance, and customers use it to decide if they're in the right place. This doesn't mean keyword stuffing. It does mean clarity. 1 primary service, 1 primary location presented naturally. Supporting text on the homepage can expand into services and service areas, but the core message should be obvious within a second. If your homepage avoids saying what you do or hides the location, Google has to guess, and guessing works against you. Clear alignment between your homepage and the Google Business Profile makes validation easy and improves the ceiling of your map's visibility. For every single service that you list on your Google Business Profile, Google expects to find a page on your website that backs it up. This is where dedicated individual service pages comes into play. And when they're done right, they directly strengthen Maps rankings. Panel upgrades, EV charger installs, lighting, troubleshooting, each one of these gets its own dedicated page that clearly explains the service. This removes ambiguity and makes validation easy for Google. The URL, or the slug, matters more than most electricians realize. Use the exact service wording from your Google Business Profile in the URL wherever possible. If your service is listed as EV charger installation, your page URL should reflect that, not something vague or branded. On the page itself, your meta title, H1, and meta description should include the service name and your primary location naturally. This doesn't mean repeating it over and over. It means making it clear what the page is about and who it's for. Done correctly, these pages answer a very specific question for both Google and the customer. Does this electrician provide this exact service in this area? When the answer is clear, rankings and conversions both benefit. That means you could end up and probably will end up with 50 plus individual service pages. Remember, if it's reasonable to think that 5 or more people will search for that service, or for something like AFCI outlet installation each month, then that should be a page on your website and a service on your Google Business Profile. That volume may sound small, but 5 searches a month equals 60 searches a year. A 5% conversion rate on a high-intent specific keyword like that could net 3 extra jobs each year from that one page alone. Building 30, 40, 50, or even 60 plus individual service pages properly takes time. Each page has to be written intentionally, aligned with your Google business profile, structured correctly, and built to answer a very specific search intent. There's no shortcut if you want it to work. This is exactly why most electricians and frankly agencies don't implement this fully. This is the system I build for my clients. I create individual single service pages at scale. I follow best SEO practices, clean URLs, correct headings, proper metadata, location alignment, internal linking, and content that clearly explains the service in a way both Google and customers understand. These pages don't just support Maps rankings, they also bring in leads from regular Google search results. Each page is written with unique copy. This isn't duplicate content with a service name swapped out. Every service page answers a slightly different question, reflects how that job is actually performed, and matches how people search for that service. The page also includes SEO-optimized images. When a client doesn't have photos for a specific job because it's difficult to get them and get your guys to take photos, frankly, I create realistic images using carefully crafted AI prompts that I spent a lot of time refining. So the visuals look natural and relevant, not generic or obviously artificial. Yes, this process is time-consuming, and yes, it works very well. This approach consistently improves Google Maps visibility while also capturing high-intent traffic from organic search, people actively looking for a specific electrical service, not just browsing. If you're focused on running jobs and don't want to spend nights building dozens of pages the right way, that's where I come in. This is a core part of what I do, built specifically for electrical contractors. If you want to see whether this makes sense for you and your business, book a call using the link in the description. We'll look at what you have now, where there's gaps, and whether this strategy is a good fit. Now let's talk about alignment between your GBP and your website when it comes to service areas. Whether your Google business profile shows your address or not, Google still treats your business as having one physical location. Everything else you list as a service area is tied to that location. That's the rule we're working from here. From there, the procedure is simple. Every service area listed on your GBP must have its own dedicated location page on your website. One service area equals one page. If it's listed in GBP, the website needs to confirm it. This includes cities, towns, or unincorporated areas and recognized neighborhoods. If people search for electrician in blank, that area counts, if it's an official city boundary or not. Google follows search behavior, not maps. Each service area page needs clean alignment. The page has its own URL that includes the location name. The meta title includes the location name and your primary category. The H1 does the same. The meta description reinforces it. No clever wording, just clear confirmation. Where electricians get stuck is listing multiple service areas in your GBP, but only having one generic service area page on the website. That breaks the one-to-one relationship Google expects and weakens trust. You don't need pages everywhere you could drive, but there's a simple filter. Would someone realistically search for an electrician using the area name, and would you want a call from there? If yes, list it in the GBP and support it with a dedicated page on your website. Bottom line, the Google business profile makes the claim. Your website proves it. When each service area has a matching, clearly aligned page, Google doesn't have to guess, and that clarity is what supports stronger Maps visibility. Once you've decided a service area deserves its own page, the next rule matters just as much. Every location page must genuinely be unique to that area. Swapping out the city name and reusing the same content does not work long term, and Google is very good at spotting it. Google isn't looking for volume here. It's looking for proof that you actually work in that area. The easiest way to show that is with a location-specific detailed page that only makes sense for that place. A strong location page references the neighborhoods by name. It mentions nearby landmarks, major streets, or intersections people recognize. It reflects the types of homes or buildings common in that area. These details tell Google and the homeowner reading the page that this isn't a generic template. If you have a physical address, you can go a step further and include written driving instructions. Simple instructions like located just off Highway 34 near downtown or 5 minutes from Main Street are powerful trust signals. They anchor your business to the real world. This doesn't mean each page needs to be long, but it does need to be specific. 2 or 3 solid area-specific sections will outperform a long page that says nothing new and is copied. Where electricians get into trouble is creating 10 location pages that read exactly the same. Same services, same paragraphs, same structure. Only the city name changes. Google sees that duplication. It's not local relevance, and those pages stop helping. The goal of a location page is simple. Answer the question, do you actually serve this area? Unique references local context, and real-world cues do that far better than keyword swapping ever will. Bottom line, location pages should sound like they were written for that place. When each page clearly reflects its neighborhood, landmarks, and surroundings, Google has stronger confidence, and that confidence supports better rankings where it matters. NAP is name, address, phone. NAP consistency sounds technical, but the idea is simple. Google wants to see the same business name, address, phone number, and operating hours everywhere it looks. Our industry calls it NAP, but it's also important to include accurate operating hours. So maybe they should rename it NAF. Anyway, when those details match, trust goes up. When they don't, Google hesitates. Start with your Google business profile. The business name, address, phone number, and operating hours. That becomes the reference point, the single source of truth. Your website needs to match that exactly. Same spelling, same formatting, same everything. This applies to every important Google place Google checks. Your website header, your footer, your contact page, your location pages. If you show an address, it should appear the same everywhere. If you don't show an address, don't sneak one in on the website. Mixed signals weaken confidence. You don't need to obsess on every random directory on the internet, but you should focus on your website, Google Business Profile, and the majority of trusted platforms like Apple Business Connect, Bing, Yelp, and Facebook. That's where Google looks first. A common mistake is creating new listings with slightly different names, slightly different addresses, thinking more listing means more visibility, but this actually does the opposite. Inconsistent NAP data makes Google less sure about which information is correct, and uncertainty hurts map performance. The takeaway is straightforward. Pick one official version of your business name, address, phone number, and operating hours, lock it in, and use it everywhere that matters. Let's talk about and simplify Schema, because this is one of those things that sounds complicated, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. Schema is code on the back end of your website that you can't actually see when you visit your website, but it's important because it tells search engines like Google exactly what your website and your business is about. At a minimum, you need local business schema using the Electrician business type. This schema defines your business name, phone number, website URL, address, or service area, and it must match your Google business profile exactly. This schema applies across your entire website, not just one page. The good news is that this is easy to implement. Most WordPress SEO plugins can add local business electrician schema without custom code. You don't need a developer just to get started with this one. Once it's set up, you should verify it. Schema.org has a free validation tool where you can paste in the URL of your website or a specific page and confirm that schema exists and is valid. This is something you should actively check, not assume it's working. One critical detail is that your schema should include your Google Maps CID URL. This directly connects your website to your Google business profile. You can find your CID URL using a Chrome extension called Gather Up Google. The link is in the description. Along with local business schema, you also need website schema. This can also be done through the plugin. These two serve different purposes. Local business schema describes the business entity, your business. Website schema describes the website itself. Both should be applied to the entire website, and together they form the bare minimum of what you should have when it comes to schema. Everything beyond this point is advanced schema and optional. Only move here if you have the skills or developer who understands structured data. Advanced schema usually starts with the web page schema. This applies to individual pages. This is different from website schema, which applies to the entire website. Each important page can have its own context and purpose defined. If you have a hub page that lists all residential or all commercial services, you can add collection page schema to that page. The same applies to a page that lists all your service areas. This helps Google understand that the page organizes related items. You can also add an offer catalog schema, which defines your set of services as structured offerings. This works well when paired with the Service Hub pages and helps clarify what you actually provide as a business. From there, individual service pages can use service schema, where each service, panel upgrades, EV chargers, troubleshooting, etc., has its own structured definition. These must be customized per service and not reused across pages. For location-specific service area pages, you can layer in city or administrative area schema to reinforce geographic relevance. This is useful, but not only after the foundation is solid. The takeaway is simple. Local business electrician schema and website schema are required and easy, and most WordPress websites can handle them with an SEO plugin. Everything else, offer catalog, collection page, service, and location level schema is advanced, optional, and best handled with a developer. If you're unsure, get the foundation right first. Schema won't magically rank you, but missing or broken schema can absolutely hold you back. Now let's talk about what citations, directories, and backlinks actually are and why they matter. A citation is any place online that lists your business name, address, and phone number. They usually live inside directories. Google uses citations to confirm that your business information is real and consistent across the web. They're not about traffic, they're about verification and trust. Directories are the platforms that host those citations. Think of places like Apple Business Connect, Bing Places, Yelp, and other trusted business listings. Google cross-checks these sources against your Google business profile. When the information lines up, confidence increases. When it doesn't, Google hesitates. Now let's talk about backlinks, because this is where many business owners get confused. A backlink is a link from another website pointing to yours. In Google Maps, backlinks act as an authority and trust signal. They help answer a different question than citations. Is this business respected or referenced locally? Citations tell Google who you are and where you're located. Backlinks help Google decide how credible you are compared to other competitors. That distinction matters. Another important point is that not all directories provide meaningful backlinks. Some directories only list your information. Some include a website link. And some links are no-follow, meaning they pass little or no SEO authority. Google understands these differences. The value isn't just the link, it's the source behind the link. In Google Maps, these signals work together. Your Google business profile makes the claim, your website confirms it, and citations back up your identity, while backlinks reinforce trust and authority. When one of these is missing or inconsistent, Maps rankings become harder to sustain. This is why electricians with similar profiles on your GBP and similar reviews can rank very differently. One business has clean, verified citations with real local backlinks. The other doesn't. Google sees that gap even if the businesses look similar on the GBP and on the surface. The takeaway is simple. Citations, directories, and backlinks aren't about quick wins or traffic spikes. They exist to help Google verify, validate, and compare local businesses. In competitive Maps results, that background trust is often the deciding factor. Google is building an entity about your business, which basically means how your business is viewed across the entire internet as a whole. Your business online reputation. Verified listings are a must if you want to rank your electrical business in the Map Pack. A small set of hard-to-verify, trusted platforms beats hundreds of listings every time. A verified listing isn't just a form you fill out on a website. It requires proof. That can mean recording a verification video like you do for your Google business profile, entering a code sent by text, email, or a phone call, receiving a postcard at your physical address, or submitting real-world business documents. Sometimes it's more than one step, and even when everything is correct, listings still get rejected. Auto-verification systems fail. Small technicalities trigger denials. Anyone who's gone through this knows exactly it's not easy. That difficulty is exactly why verified listings really matter. Google trusts them more because they require real-world proof that know who you are and who you say you are. From Google's perspective, a verified citation is a high-confidence reference point. It's a platform that didn't just accept your information, it challenged it and confirmed it. When Google sees your business details matching across multiple verified sources, uncertainty drops. That's why verified citations carry far more weight than bulk directory listings. So which verified platforms matter most? Start with Apple Business Connect. Apple verifies business ownership and location, and Google treats Apple Maps data as a trusted external source. Next is Bing Places. Even though Bing isn't where most electricians get leads, maybe 12%, Google still uses Bing as a validation layer, and ChatGPT also pulls a lot of info from Microsoft Bing as well. Verified data here reinforces your legitimacy. Then there's Yelp. Yelp is difficult to manipulate. It's strict about data changes and heavily cross-referenced by Google. It's not a primary lead source for most electricians, but it's a major trust anchor. Facebook pages also matter for verification and consistency, especially for name and phone number alignment, even if you don't post there. If you've ever done a Google search on a business, you'll notice that their Facebook page often shows up. Again, the key takeaway is that a small set of hard-to-verify, trusted platforms beats hundreds of easy listings every time. If a platform requires real verification, Google pays attention to it. If it doesn't, it carries far less weight. Bottom line, verified citations matter because they reduce doubt. The harder a platform makes it to prove your business is real, the more Google usually trusts it once you do that verification. And that directly supports stronger Google Maps rankings. Industry-specific directories are websites built specifically for electricians and electrical contractors. Google trusts these because they clearly confirm what you do. Real examples include the NECA, the IEC, and IBEW. They reinforce that your business is a legitimate as a legitimate electrician, not just a business with the word electric in the name. This helps Google confidently rank you in maps for electrical services. A ranking lever most electrical businesses might not know about is real local backlinks from sponsorships and local organizations. These are real-world connections between your business and the communities you serve. Start with sponsorships. Think youth sports teams, school programs, charity events, local fundraisers, or community events. Most of these organizations have a website with a sponsor or partnership page. When your electrical business is listed there with a link, this is a backlink back to your site. That link carries more weight because it's tied to a specific local area. What makes these links valuable isn't traffic, it's relevance and authority. These organizations are clearly associated with a city, town, or service area, which helps Google confidently connect your business to that same location. In terms of cost, this usually isn't that expensive. Many local sponsorship programs run anywhere from about $100 to $500 per year. Chambers of commerce are often in the $200 to $600 range. Builder associations and trade groups can be higher, sometimes $500 to $1,500 annually, depending on the market. You're not paying for just a link, you're paying to be involved locally, and that link is a byproduct. Now you might be thinking, do I really have to do all these tactics just to outrank my competitors? After all, you've probably seen businesses with fewer reviews or weaker websites rank higher than others. And that's true. There's no way to know exactly which single factor pushed a competitor ahead. But here's the key. Google Maps ranking is a competition by definition. If your business isn't outranking a competitor, it means Google sees their profile as a better fit for that search at that location. So if you want to improve your ranking, or if you can't figure out why you aren't beating a competitor, the logical first step is to compare your business to the ones above you. The way to do this is a thorough competition analysis. Look at proximity, profile completeness, reviews, website alignment, and backlinks. Once you see where your competitors are ahead, you can close those gaps strategically instead of guessing. If you want to do competitive analysis, then first you need to know about local grid maps ranking tracking tools and why they exist in the first place. A local grid tracking tool shows your Google Maps rankings across a map, but not just from one search location. Instead of one result, it drops a grid of points over a city or a service area and checks where your business ranks up at each point. Each point on the grid represents a different physical search location, as if someone's actually searching from that spot with their phone. So instead of guessing how you rank in the city, you can see exactly where you're at in the top 3, where you're barely visible, and you know exactly where you don't show up at all. This matters because Google Maps is hyperlocal. You can rank number 1 on one side of town and be invisible just a few miles away. A grid tool makes that obvious in seconds. The reason businesses use these tools isn't to obsess over rankings, it's to track progress over time. When you improve your Google business profile, add reviews, fix website issues, or build links, a grid lets you see whether your visibility is actually expanding outward or staying stuck. These tools are especially useful in competitive markets where everyone has an optimized Google business profile, a nice website that aligns well with their profile, and they have reviews coming in consistently. Larger service areas where manually checking isn't realistic makes these tools useful as well. They also help you avoid false confidence. Ranking well from your office doesn't mean you're winning the whole market. That said, a grid tool isn't required to improve your maps presence. It's a visibility and measurement tool, not a ranking factor. If you want clarity and consistency in tracking, it helps. If not, manual checks done correctly can still tell you a lot. The real value of a local grid map is simple. It turns Google Maps ranking from a guess into something you can actually see, compare, and measure over time. I use an app called SEO Utils. This is a suite of SEO tools that includes a Google Business Profile rank tracker to do local grid rank tracking. It shows how a business ranks across multiple points in a service area and can check ranking for your most important services or keywords, giving you a complete picture of your Google Maps visibility. For my clients, I combine this tool with call tracking. I can install a small piece of code on your website that tracks where your calls are coming from and displays them directly on the grid map. This feature is called the Money Map. And right now, no other platform has anything like it. It's a unique way to visualize exactly what parts of your service area are generating the most calls. If you want to get a free local grid map rank tracker scan for your business, you can do that by booking a call with me at the link in the description. If you don't have access to a local grid style maps ranking tool, or you want to check your Google Maps visibility manually, I'll tell you how to do it the right way. Google Maps rankings change based on the location of the searcher. That means the results you see depend on where you're physically standing when you search. So if you want to see how you're showing up in a specific area, you need to be physically in that area. If you're already out on jobs around town, this is easy. When you have a moment, pull over, open your phone or your laptop, and do a quick check. Just make sure you use incognito mode. Google personalizes results based on your past searches and activity. The process is simple. Just open up an incognito window, go to Google, and search something like electrician or electrician near me. You'll look at the map results, and then you see exactly where you rank. There's one caveat here. You should not search something like electrician in city. The reason is because Google's going to show you the results for the electrician in that specific city, not from where you are physically. You don't need to do this every day. Checking occasionally from different parts of your service area gives you a realistic sense of where you're strong and where you're not showing up yet. This isn't about chasing a perfect rank everywhere. It's about understanding how your visibility changes across your market, so you know whether your Google Maps presence is actually expanding or just sitting in the same spot. The next thing to compare with your competitors is Google Business Profile completedness. Did you fill out every available field on your Google Business Profile? Make sure your GBP is completely filled out with every field. Business name, categories, services, hours, attributes, description should all be done. Once that's complete, you don't need to worry about comparing your profile to competitors. There's nothing else to fill in that will give you an advantage. What you can look at is how competitors are using additional activity signals. For example, do they have more photos or a greater variety of photos than you? Are they posting videos? Have they posted recently? How frequently do they post updates on their profile? These signals show Google that a business is active and engaged. By keeping your own profile complete and regularly updated with fresh photos, videos, and posts, you're closing the gap without overthinking it. Reviews are one of the most visible ways Google measures relevance and trust, so comparing them with your competitors is essential. When you do this, look at 4 key factors: volume, quality, velocity, and responsiveness. Volume is simple. How many reviews does your competitor have versus you? More reviews generally signal credibility to Google, especially if they're recent. Quality matters too. Are the reviews mostly 5-star, or are you getting 1 stars or a mix? What people say in the reviews can reinforce your services and specialities. For example, if a competitor's reviews mentions emergency electrical service or panel upgrade, Google picks up on those keywords as relevant signals. Velocity refers to how quickly new reviews are coming in. A steady stream of reviews over time shows Google that a business is active and consistently providing services. Spikes or long periods without reviews are not helpful. Finally, responding to reviews is critical. Replying to both positive and negative feedback signals to Google that you are engaged and trustworthy. It also builds confidence for potential customers who read those responses. When you compare yourself to competitors, take note of the gaps. Do they respond to all reviews? Are they professional, casual, or rude to reviewers with negative feedback? Use this insight to guide your review strategy. Focus on steadily growing your review volume and encouraging detailed feedback and responding promptly. A strong and active review profile isn't just about getting more stars. It's about showing Google and customers that your business is reliable, relevant, and engaged in the local community. Now let's talk about how you can compare your backlinks with your competitors. First, you can use the Mangools Chrome extension to quickly see the backlinks your competitors have. This gives you a clear picture of who's linking to them and which sites are helping their Google Maps visibility. Here's how to use it. After opening the extension, click the See All Backlinks button. Then go through each link your competitor has and check whether it's a good backlink or not. For example, if it's a sponsorship link from a local organization, see if you can get that one too. If it's a relevant directory, add your business to that directory as well. If it's a spammy or irrelevant link, just ignore it. This lets you create a practical list of backlinks you can target, links that actually help your local relevance, without wasting time on low-quality links and low-quality sites. By following this approach, you're not trying to copy competitors blindly. You're simply identifying high-quality opportunities to strengthen your citations and local backlinks, which can help make a real difference in Google Maps rankings. It's tempting to look for shortcuts or hacks. That way you can boost your Google Maps ranking real quick. Quick tricks, fake reviews, keyword stuffing, spammy link schemes. But here's the reality. These strategies almost never hold up long-term. Google's algorithm is constantly updating, and it's designed to reward real, complete, and relevant businesses. Any gains from shortcuts are usually temporary. One day you might see a bump in your ranking, and then the next day it can disappear. Or worse, your listing could get penalized or even suspended. And here's something many electricians don't realize. When a lot of leads are at stake at the top of Google Maps in the map pack, your competitors won't hesitate to report you if they suspect you're violating Google's rules or doing anything unethical. That could get your profile flagged or removed completely, which would wipe out all the work you've been doing. Instead of chasing hacks, focus on building a strong foundation. A fully completed Google Business Profile, regular fresh content, authentic reviews, a great website with website alignment, and high-quality local citations and backlinks. These are proven signals that Google trusts and consistently rewards. Now that you know what it takes to win the top spot in Google Maps ranking for electricians and how you compare to your competitors, you might be wondering, can I really do all this by myself? The short answer is you can, but it's not easy and it can quickly become overwhelming. There are some things that you can handle on your own, like filling out your Google Business Profile completely. A few hours if you gather everything up front. Adding photos and videos of jobs, trucks, your team. maybe 30 to 60 minutes per update. Responding to reviews and posting occasional updates, just a few minutes per review or post. But here's where it gets tricky and where most DIY approaches start to break down. Building and maintaining your website, even if you use WordPress or a page builder, it takes time to design pages, set up service and location pages, optimize content, fix errors, and ensure the site stays fast and secure without hacks. Updates, plugin conflicts, and occasional downtime are constant headaches. Then there's tracking and analytics. Setting up Google Analytics, call tracking, the local grid rank trackers, and making sense of the data takes both time and know-how. Without this, you won't know which efforts are actually driving leads and which aren't. Then there's SEO maintenance. That includes on-page, off-page, and technical SEO. Google's algorithm changes constantly. Titles, categories, backlinks, 404 pages, schema, redirects, website content, they all need periodic adjustments and updates. Miss something and your ranking could drop without warning. Next is your domain name, hosting, backups, and security. You need to make sure you buy your domain name and make sure you only have access to it and only delegate access to agencies when necessary. Paying for hosting is one thing, but configuring it correctly, managing your SSL, doing DNS, doing backups, and keeping everything updated is ongoing work. Neglect this and your site could crash or be hacked. You need to be careful when choosing hosting that combines your website builder platform with the hosting itself, because your website could disappear just because your subscription ended. If you stop paying for Wix or Squarespace or a similar platform, your entire website could be shut off overnight because you never truly owned it in the first place. With a self-hosted WordPress website, like our agency does, you own the database and the website files and the content outright. That means if you ever stop working with me, you can take your website with you and host it anywhere you want. Much less risk and a smarter play. Then there's local citations and backlink building. Getting legitimate sponsorship links, citations, and partnerships require research, outreach, and follow-up. This isn't just clicking a button. The point is this: DIY can quickly turn into a full-time job, and it's easy to miss the things that actually matter. One mistake or missed update, and you can erase weeks of effort. The top 3 listings get the majority of clicks, calls, and job requests. Even moving from position 4 or 5 up to the top 3 can mean dozens of extra leads per month, which translates into real jobs and real dollars in your pocket. That's why many electricians choose to hire help. That's where I come in. I work specifically with electrical contractors to handle everything from profile optimization, website design and setup and maintenance, local citation building and backlinks, to call tracking and competitor analysis. That way you don't have to worry about it. You can focus on running your business instead of constantly fighting with tech. And I make sure your online presence is working to bring in more leads and more jobs. If you want to see where your business stands right now or get a custom strategy for improving your Google Maps rankings, the next step is simple. Book a call with me using the link in the description. On that call, we'll review your profile, show your opportunities, and outline the next steps to get your business ranking higher and generating more calls. Don't leave your ranking or potential revenue to chance. Take control today, and let's make sure your business is the one that the customers see first.